Hello guys, homemade onion powder has a very strong flavor. It improves the aroma of your food and there are no extra additives. Hello Team Healthy, today we're going to be making onion powder at home. Now this is filled with so many amazing properties, antioxidant properties, anti-inflammatory properties, and it is homemade, so you get to know exactly 100% what you're putting in your bellies, okay? And this by experience has taught me that homemade onion powder has definitely a stronger aroma and helps make more savory meals. So we're going to be taking the peels off our onions. After that, then next we'll cut our onions into thin slices. Don't really bother or worry if you can't really get it into very thin slices. Just do the best that you can and slice the full onions. So today I'm going to show you how to make it from scratch, and I promise you will never go back to buying the onion powder that you usually do from your grocery store. This is really helpful, especially if you make it in large batches, but if this is your first time trying it, it's okay if you want to do it in a really small batch to see how it's going to turn out for you, and if you really want to compare the flavor and the taste to what you normally buy in the grocery store, so it's fine. So I'm just going to be using two medium-sized onions in this video. So 2 medium-sized onions in this video. Of course you can use more. It depends on just what you have and if you want to experiment or not. Now I did this in one day, and there are two methods I really want to show you guys. So there are 2 methods that I used in this video, and the first one is to use the dehydrator, which is in my air fryer, and the second one was to use the oven, and you're gonna see it shortly. So what I'm doing here is trying to separate the onions just to make sure that all the surface areas are exposed, because you want to do this in the shortest time possible. So I go ahead to prepare my air fryer tray, and then I line it with a paper. Then I'm going to spread the onions in the tray and then put it in the air fryer and hit the dehydrator button. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Amen. So I go ahead to line the baking tray with parchment paper, just because I don't want to create a sticky mess. Next, I'm going to spread the onions on the tray as best as I can. And then I'm going to check up on the one in the air fryer. As you can see, it's trying to do a good job, and the ones that are almost dried are looking whitish or pale. This is the one in the oven. It's going to take a longer time if you just put it on maybe 100 degrees and just leave it there. It's going to become, soggy and take a longer time. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to increase, or from the onset, put it on about 200 or 180 degrees and leave it on there in your oven. Okay, so I just combined the one from the air fryer with the one in the oven, and I put it in 200 degrees and left it for about 45 minutes, and I turned off the oven and just let the heat in the oven just continue its job without unnecessarily opening the oven. And this is the result that I got. Now you can see clearly the distinct difference between the color from the one in the oven, which is obviously purple, but it is 99% dry or 98% dried, and the whitish one is the one that I did with the air fryer. So that honestly is the difference that I see. So it's not 100% dry, but I want to speed up the process, so I'm just going to toss it in a blender and pulse it or blend it, and then put it back in the oven. Now remember that the oven is still hot. I'm not going to turn it on except you feel the oven has turned cold, so you can heat it for a little bit, and then after blending, toss it in the oven, in the baking tray, and put it in the oven, and just let the heat from the oven, dry it out further. You don't need to turn on the oven. So this is what the texture looks like. Don't be deceived. You have to make sure that it's extremely dry, because if it's extremely dry, it has a very high shelf life. It can stay in your cabinet for as long as a year, but I don't think it's going to last that long, because I know we all use onion powder to cook very often. But however, if you don't let it dry 100%, it's going to be moldy, and it's not going to last at all. It's going to be moldy and clumpy. So this is what it looked like after I pulsed it. So it definitely felt slightly wet in my hands, and I knew that it wasn't dry. So make sure that it's dried. If you think it's dried and you blend it, it's still moist in your hand. You have to toss it back and make sure that it's dry, so that you do a very good job. So I just spread it back on the tray and put it back in the oven. My oven was still hot at this point. I didn't have to turn it back on. So this is what it looks like. The color is obviously different. It was dry and crispy to touch, and you know that it's dried. Okay, so now I can feel free to blend it and prepare to store my onion powder. Now I'm gonna toss it back in the blender and blend it. If you want to make it very smooth, that's fine. If you want to make it semi, that's fine. It's still gonna go in the food anyway. So however you want the consistency to be, that will be up to you. So this is what it looks like after blending. The color did change to slightly paler than it was, slightly lighter in color. And now, yep, I feel accomplished. You definitely do. So I'm gonna store it in this jar. I definitely use onion powder a lot for prepping my meat, my chicken, my fish, and just cooking. So this is what I had. So amazing, guys. So like you, I challenge you to do this at home and tell me what you think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and God bless you.